Welcome to Outside Views. Today we're going to explore a deeply controversial topic, the so-called McMafia order and its potential application to Donald Trump's golf courses in Scotland. We talked about this and I want to give you an update today. This is a topic that has sparked significant debate over financial transparency, political accountability, and the rule of law. We'll dive into the origins of the McMafia order, the legal implications, the timeline of events involving Trump's Scottish ventures, and the current state of affairs. So let's begin with the basics. The term McMafia order refers to unexplained wealth orders or UWOs. UWOs are legal instruments introduced in the UK in 2018 to combat money laundering and illicit financial activities. And these orders allow authorities to compel individuals to explain the source of funds used to acquire specific assets. If the individual cannot provide a satisfactory explanation, the asset can be seized by the authorities. The name McMafia originates from a popular BBC crime drama that highlighted the complexities of global money laundering and illicit wealth. The show brought public attention to the dark side of financial networks, making the term widely recognized and associated with efforts to clean up unexplained wealth. But how does this connect to Donald Trump? We need to recap that. Trump owns two prominent golf properties in Scotland: the Trump International Golf Links in Aberdeenshire and the Trump Turnberry Resort in Ayrshire. Both properties were acquired and developed with substantial financial investments, raising significant questions about the source of these funds. Critics and advocacy groups have questioned whether Trump's acquisitions in Scotland were entirely above board. And let's dive into the timeline events that led to the current controversy here. In 2014, Donald Trump purchased the Turnberry Resort. Turnberry is an iconic property famed for hosting several Open Championships and regarded as a jewel in the crown of Scotland's golfing heritage. Trump's acquisition came with grand promises of restoring the resort to its former glory and elevating it into a world-class golfing destination. And this was followed in 2016 by Trump's acquisition of the Aberdeenshire golf course. And this project involved extensive development on environmentally sensitive coastal lands, sparking controversy even beyond the financial concerns. At the time, Trump publicly claimed that these projects were financed entirely through his personal wealth. However, critics have long argued that these claims don't hold up under scrutiny. Trump's financial situation during this period was quite complicated. His businesses were facing mounting debts, and questions arose about how he could fund such massive investments in Scotland. So fast forward to 2021. By this point, calls for a McMafia order or UWO to investigate Trump's Scottish ventures were growing louder. Advocacy group Avast led the charge, filing a petition urging the Scottish government to pursue a UWO against Trump's assets. The argument was simple but powerful. The public deserves transparency regarding the financial flows behind Trump's acquisitions in Scotland. The Avast petition gained significant attention, particularly after Trump's presidency ended and he faced mounting legal challenges in the United States. The pressure culminated in August 2021 when a Scottish court granted permission for a judicial review of the government's decision not to seek a UWO. This was a pivotal moment in the saga. It demonstrated that the case had sufficient legal and public interest to warrant further scrutiny. However, the Scottish government's response was less than enthusiastic. Officials argued that the responsibility for pursuing a UWO did not rest with ministers. Instead, they claimed that this authority lay with the Lord Advocate, Scotland's independent chief legal officer. And this legal distinction effectively stalled efforts to investigate Trump's Scottish assets. Despite public and political pressure, no further action was taken in 2021, and this issue carried over into 2022 with no resolution in sight. And critics accused the Scottish Government of shirking its responsibility to hold powerful individuals accountable. The Scottish Greens co-leader Patrick Harvie was among those who continued to push for a UWO, arguing that the government's inaction sent the wrong message about financial transparency. And meanwhile, Trump's Scottish operations carried on as usual, though not without controversy. Eric Trump, who oversees the family's Scottish ventures, was quick to dismiss the calls for a UWO as politically motivated. He went so far as to accuse Scottish officials of creating a hostile business environment, claiming that doing business in Scotland had become virtually impossible. By 2023, the situation took another twist. A New York court found the Trump organization liable for fraud, further fueling calls for an investigation into Trump's finances worldwide. And this ruling added weight to the argument that Trump's Scottish ventures deserved closer scrutiny. Despite this, the Scottish government remained steadfast in its position. No unexplained wealth order was pursued, and the responsibility for initiating such an order continued to be deferred to the Lord Advocate. The lack of action frustrated advocacy groups, but also political figures and members of the public who had hoped for greater transparency. And as of 2024, where we are now, the situation remains unresolved. No UWO has been issued against Trump's golf courses in Scotland, leaving many questions unanswered. The properties continue to operate, but they remain under a cloud of suspicion and controversy. And this leads us to the current state of affairs. The Trump organization vehemently denies any wrongdoing, maintaining that all investments in Scotland were made legitimately. And Eric Trump has continued to defend the family's Scottish ventures, framing the controversy as part of a broader political agenda against his father. But the questions surrounding the funding of these properties persist. For many, the lack of a UWO in this high-profile case raises broader concerns about the effectiveness of unexplained wealth orders. These legal tools were designed to tackle precisely this type of situation, high-profile cases where the source of wealth is unclear or suspicious. And if a UWO cannot be applied here, critics argue, it undermines the credibility of the entire system. The controversy over Trump's Scottish ventures also highlights the challenges of enforcing financial transparency on a global scale. It shows how legal complexities and political considerations can obstruct efforts to investigate potential financial impropriety. So what's next? Unless the Scottish Government reconsiders its position or the Lord Advocate decides to act, it's unlikely that a UWO will be pursued. Advocacy groups like Avaz may continue to push for transparency, but without legal action, their efforts remain largely symbolic. And in the meantime, Trump's Scottish golf courses will likely continue to operate as usual, with different controversies surrounding them. We will talk about this later this week. But the questions surrounding their funding are far from resolved, and we will never know the truth about the financing of these properties? Or will this case remain an open question, emblematic of the challenges in holding powerful individuals accountable? Well, this case is about more than just Donald Trump. It's about the integrity of financial systems, the effectiveness of legal tools like the UWOs, and the broader fight for transparency in global finance. It's also a story about power, privilege, and the ability of wealthy individuals to navigate legal and political systems to their advantage. And as we wait for further developments, one thing is clear. The McMafia order controversy is far from over. It's a case that raises important questions about justice, accountability, and the future of financial transparency. So thank you for joining me today on Outside Views, and if you found this topic insightful, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the McMafia order should be applied to Trump's Scottish assets, or is this simply political theater? I'll see you next time with more stories that matter. Until then, take care, and when you write comments under the videos, please stay away from two things. I'm not a fan of insults, and I don't mean the ones targeting me. I'm so used to that. I just push the delete button and that's it. And stay away from whataboutism. Whataboutism is a thing that our extremists here in Germany use all the time as well. Whataboutism is not an argument, and whataboutism just shows that you have no arguments. So I said it a long time ago. I do not tolerate whataboutism on this channel, and you will have seen that a lot of whataboutist comments have been removed, because that is not arguing, that is just a sign of weakness. And if you want to see another video and talk about the topic itself, the next one is right here in the end screen.